Hello everyone and welcome back to Tarot and Torch. I hope that all of you have had a wonderful holiday season and New Year's. Today we are looking at the practice that I want to set for January in terms of tarot and the decks that I will be using and just kind of the overall energy and feel of the month ahead, which I love doing this because really that is what, as tarot readers and collectors, that we do. We create a toolkit of things that we want to use and craft our month around that, really, in terms of our spiritual healing. So January to me is a very fresh start month. I know that there's a lot of discourse around the fact that the new year doesn't start astrologically until the spring, and that's fair, as you know, also in the Chinese zodiac it doesn't start until February. However, I'm feeling ready for a fresh start, and really I'm someone that believes that we should work with energy. However, if we are feeling something, we don't need to wait until a certain checkpoint in order to create change. So in any case, I want to really focus this month on crafting my goals, figuring out kind of where I want to be and the things that I want to do. January, in terms of the feeling, does feel a bit more into the blue and gray color scheme. I do, of course, use other decks. I still use red and other colors as I feel fit, but when I think of January in general, I do feel that kind of blue-gray tone color palette. And this is a deck that I haven't shown yet on this channel, but this was actually one of the first of the decks that I purchased that were special in a way that they weren't used by everyone. So it was kind of a purchase that I felt was a little bit more under the radar, and that is the Frau Grand Duchess Tarot. And honestly, I've had this deck for so long that I don't even remember kind of when I purchased it. I believe this was purchased on Etsy, and it comes with this little white book, and I believe it's still available, but I really couldn't say for sure. So this deck always calls to me around the darker half of the year, but I do sometimes will continue to use it into the spring. The backs are of this very creamy kind of beige color with a cream kind of white. So this deck I love because it really gets into kind of relationships with others and a feeling of nostalgia of the past, which in January can be really important to work with, because we are looking back as we look ahead, and we're also thinking about how in what ways we will change. I love this collage style. It's very, for lack of a better word, it's a bit chunky, and I really enjoy that. It really kind of puts me in a different space, in a different world, and this deck just is so interesting to me. It has a lot of history, it has a lot of tongue-in-cheek, there is a lot of political kind of themes, but I think that the colors work really well for the month, but also just, again, the themes around this kind of nostalgia, this kind of don't let the past create your present and future. And it also just has a really nice feeling to it. It has, though there's this sarcastic humor, there's also this kind of comforting feel that I get from it too, in looking at different relationships and also just the past, and the images themselves are very comforting to me. Like this Nine of Cups with the two girls here, it just reminds me so much of when I was growing up and I had my friends over and we were just doing nothing. Do you guys remember doing nothing? And just sitting outside and, you know, maybe with a book or a toy or something and just talking and laughing, and it was just a different time. And, you know, though we don't want to repeat the past in harmful ways, there's still some things that we can bring in like that, like just unplugging, doing nothing, focusing on joy and connection with others, and that feeling of freedom that comes with that. But anyhow, I really enjoyed this deck a lot. I've been wanting to work with it actually over the holidays, and I've been really busy. It's also why I didn't do a kind of end of the month recap, because I've just, you know, that December is insane and for many people, and I just didn't feel that I had the time. So this card is so funny, because if you can kind of see the stack here, it's like these cassettes, and I just love that interpretation of the Tower. And also just looking at something like that is so immediately nostalgic, and the person on the actual cord telephone, just so much to really get into here. And then the pictures of the old upholstery and colors of the furniture is so interesting too. It just reminds you of growing up and you're going to your grandparents' house and seeing all of those colors there. And then look at this Ten of Cups. It's so emotional and wonderful. I love it so much. It's just brings that sense of happiness and fulfillment and joy and memory as well, which is important to think about with the Ten of Cups. So that is and I love this, oh my gosh, the red full aromatic for the world. This card, I love when this comes up because it just makes me feel so happy, and it does give you that sense of gratitude and fullness that this card brings, that, you know, feeling of having what you need and going to the next level as well. Okay, so I love this one. I'm going to be definitely using it for January, probably further than that as well. The next deck that I'm going to use this month is the Wild Unknown Archetypes. And I showed this in my haul, but I believe I also mentioned that in that video that I would be using it for my January decks. And I am. And this also goes into that kind of gray palette, but it brings pops of color as well. So on an aesthetic kind of level, or a color healing level, I feel that this will be a great one, and goes with so many other things. Because you know I'm already going to pair it with the Thoth, of course, and some other decks that I mentioned. But the reason why I really love this one for January is because in January we are stepping into such a new energy of the year, and there's all these different archetypes that we could be tapping into and thinking about, and I just feel that it's such a reflective energy in that way. That we of course embody these archetypes in multiple ways, in multiple times throughout the year or even in a single day, but thinking about them intentionally and kind of tracking where we are with the archetypes is important as well. And this really does give you that magical kind of liminal feeling that the new year has, and also just makes so much space with the round cards and the backgrounds being dark and the pops of color. It just does feel like a new fresh energy emerging, so it's perfect for this time of year, and it'll just go with so many things and clarify other decks as well. Okay, next up is the Dark Fantasy Tarot, which I am falling more and more into love with this deck as the days go by. It is beautiful, it is so meaningful. The color palette again is kind of this steel blue and gray, but with other colors as well, but it's the other colors are kind of again like an accent, not a full range, but it's more accentuating the figures. And I've been doing readings with this, and I find it very powerful and really giving a supportive energy to the work that I'm doing currently. But you can see the gray is a focal point, and the different creatures in this deck are just very interesting to work with as well. Kind of takes you again out of the all people versions of decks, and it gives that sense of magic and wonder at the world, which is important to start the new year, in my opinion, to kind of see things in this magical way rather than just everything needing to be so practical. But the readings are very practical, I have to say. I really get beautiful readings from this, and it just makes you really think, which appeals to me. I love this world card. I showed it in the haul, I believe, but it's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Otherworldly and powerful. The images, the figures themselves are very powerful and mysterious, and gives you a new perspective. You know, this being the King of Wands, well, this wand is very tall, very strong, but also there's this feeling of power that this figure holds and what he could do with the wand that really makes it special and, you know, different and unique. And the portals in this too also make it a great January choice because of all of the potential that portals bring, and also just the cuteness of some of these, like this Page of Pentacles. I love that. So interesting and different. The Queen of Pentacles. But there is this almost deity-like energy from some of the figures that's really interesting. I love this different way to view the normal cards that we see all the time. So, okay, I'm going to stop myself because very easy to go through each card in this deck. Again, that is the Dark Fantasy Tarot by J. Edward Neal. Another one that you'll have seen in the haul is the Morrigan Oracle, and that is the Call of the Morrigan Oracle. And I've already started my work with this. It's a beautiful deck. The illustrations, again, we have this kind of dark figures and silhouettes and etching, and then with the pops of color. So this has a much more illustrated artwork than the other decks, and that does take you into a place of myth and story, and it reminds me of creation myth and legend, which, you know, even though that's not where the cards are centering with the Morrigan's energy, it does remind one of that and brings your mind and thoughts back to that. So I really enjoyed the black background and borders on these. I feel like I always show you the same the same cards. Okay, there's a different one. But the guidebook here is very helpful in going into each of the different representations, her sisters, and just the story of her and the different energies that she brings about. So, I mean, this is a very powerful deck if you're interested in the Morrigan, if you like this kind of artwork or energy. And the readings are solid as well, so it has a nice blend of interpretation and knowledge that this deck brings. It is very deep, and it is a bit of an emotional, I felt an emotional connection to this deck, so it does bring up some things, but again, that's why I'm going this direction at the moment. So, another beautiful New Year, January pick. And this archetype is a very fierce one to work with. The Morrigan is not one that is a gentle, in my experience, a gentle goddess to work with. She has a lot of force and energy behind her. Next we have the Lost Oracle, which normally I tend to want to work with this in the fall, however, and this is by Fiona Horn. However, I didn't really work with it very much, as much in the fall and the winter as I thought that I would. And also, I meant to bring this with me when I was away, when I was out of my home, as some of you know, and I couldn't find it, so I actually did lose the Lost Oracle, which was kind of funny. But in any case, I've really been wanting to work with this lately, and I do sense that the energy is right. This is a very guiding yet comforting deck for me. The color palette it has that very strong outline, but still has that kind of illustrated feel. So I feel that this would go well with any kind of black and white decks, or even decks that do have more color and reds and black. I'm feeling I may work with the Void Tarot with this one too, but the energy is very much witchy. There's a lot of witchcraft elements, but the meanings are very dead on. So they aren't open and, you know, as reflective for me as they are specific. When I look at it, I know exactly what it's talking about, sometimes down to a physical object that I need, or a very specific meaning that answers my question in a very practical way. So I love this deck for that, and also just for adding that sense of magic and enchantment that I am looking for right now. It also has the mythology that I am diving into currently, also with the Celtic pantheon. So that is the Lost Oracle. Many of you probably know this one. Next, we do have the Void Tarot, and this deck, I love the quiet voice that it has. It is one that you have to listen to. It has that whisper rather than an overpowering kind of specific tone. And often it's good to have a softer kind of blow to something that you're perhaps wanting to know that's a bit on the nose, a little tender perhaps, in my experience. But also just a sense of understanding that the deck brings. I use it when I do feel misunderstood, or whether I need to have a feeling of a kindred spirit. And I love the backgrounds on these. They feel very cavernous, but also as if you are in almost a Gothic cathedral with nothing but the candlelight and your thoughts, and perhaps these delightful figures that come by and offer some wisdom or conversation. But nothing about the figures feels inherently difficult or threatening. It's very very soft in a way for me when I use it. So I'll likely be using this one into February as well. Also just because February and Valentine's Day with the red goes really well together. Honorable mention of the Thoth, because you know that I work with it, you've seen it so many times. I don't like showing it every single video, but the Thoth is it's one that I'm just using a lot and will continue to use, and January is a good time for it as well because it has a bit more color and vibrant energy to it. And lastly, the one that I want to work with this month is the Fairy Tale Oracle, which I have been enjoying a lot. It does have that feeling of magic, which I've been really enjoying lately with all of the choices that I'm selecting. A lot of them do have this sense of magic or myth about them. And the colors of this one also just go really well. There's a lot of those steely blues and turquoise and some of the pops of red. And though I do feel that this is a very December deck, I do still want to continue to use it through January. And I really just enjoy this. It's very, I'm trying to think of a word to describe. It's a little bit luscious, and I say that because of the fruits, the beautiful fruits that are in it, the royalty images, the depth of the colors, and the meanings behind a lot of these. I just really enjoy the art. It has a sumptuousness, which may be a better word to use here, and I feel that that's something that I need right now, perhaps because we are in the dead of winter here. And the images of the forest are calling to me also. We tend to take a lot of trips into the woods in the summer. So in the winter I do miss the plants. So yes, this is just one that I feel is very fitting for this time when it's still so cold and dreary, and there's still a lot of inner reflection going on. So these are the main decks that I want to work with in January. I will be using others and likely updating with those. And I'm also going to be making a kind of a goals video for the goals that I want to tackle in the new year. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that you also have decks that you're excited to work with, or just things that you're excited about in general for this month ahead, and that there was something here that was interesting, inspiring, or just comforting. And I will talk with all of you very, very soon.